Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, well, it's not the most glamorous field, but we're tackling pest management.
Not glamorous, no, but definitely essential and way more interesting than people think.
You've got that right.
Yeah.
And we're armed with, this stack of articles and career guides all about acing that pest management interview.
Yeah.
So, no more U-bugs. It's time to become the ultimate problem solver. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so when you're prepping someone for a pest management interview, what are some of those questions, those real curveballs that trip people up?
Well, one that often comes up is, tell us about your experience with pest identification and treatment. Sounds pretty basic, right?
Like, I've seen an ant maybe squashed a spider, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing there's got to be more to it than that.
Way more. It's about showing them you're not just there to spray and run. They want to see passion, real knowledge.
A passion for pests. I mean, I get it. Every creature has its place, but
Right.
Cockles. Well, maybe not quite like that. It's more about showing you're invested in the craft. Like, don't just list off pests, share a story. A challenging infestation you tackled, a time you got creative.
So instead of, I've dealt with ants, spiders, and the occasional raccoon, you'd say.
exactly. Give them something like, while I was dealing with this persistent rodent issue at this bakery, I learned that it's not just about traps. It's about, sealing entry points, educating staff about food storage, the whole 9 yards.
Boom. Problem-solving skills on display. You're not just eliminating pests, you're safeguarding a whole business. I like it. Now, what about the safety stuff? That's got to be a big one, right?
Huge. How do you maintain safety while using pesticides? That question is bound to come up.
And it's not just about protecting yourself, but clients, pets, the environment.
Exactly. This is where you showcase that you're on top of the latest regulations, the best practices, maybe even mention specialized training you've had.
So instead of I wear gloves and a mask, which, come on, everyone better be doing that you're talking about. Going above and beyond. Staying updated on the latest guidelines from, say, the EPA, maybe even researching eco-friendly alternatives.
Showing them you're not just following the rules, but you're passionate about safety and, the bigger picture. Okay, now let's get real. What about those unhappy clients? I imagine those situations can get interesting.
Oh, for sure. How do you handle customer complaints about pests after treatment? That one's a classic, and it can really make or break you in an interview.
Because no one wants to hire someone who gets defensive, right? They need to see you can handle those tough conversations.
Absolutely. It's all about empathy and solutions. Start by really listening, acknowledging their concerns. Then, you explain your process for investigating the issue, maybe offer a follow-up treatment.
So instead of, I already sprayed, what more do you want? You're saying,
Something like, I understand how stressful this must be. I want to reassure you that I'll take another look, listen to your concerns, and we'll figure out the best way to move forward together.
okay, much better. You're not just a pest expert, you're a customer service ninja.
Chuckles. Exactly. Now, here's another big one, and it ties into what we were saying about passion for the field. How do you stay up to date with the latest pest management techniques?
So that's where all those industry journals and conferences come in handy.
Absolutely. Mention any publications you read, forums you're part of, workshops you've attended.
You're a lifelong learner, constantly evolving your skills.
I love it. Okay, so we've talked about knowledge, safety, customer service, staying current. What other interview curveballs should people be ready for?
Well, they love to throw in those tell me about a time questions. Like, can you tell us about a difficult pest management problem you solved? This is your chance to shine, to really showcase your expertise.
Story time. I'm ready. But there's got to be a strategy here, right? It's not just about bragging about how many cockroaches you've vanquished.
Right. It's about your thought process. Walk them through the challenge, how you analyzed it, the steps you took, the resolution.
So instead of I eradicated a cockroach infestation, it's more like I tackled this really stubborn cockroach situation in a restaurant kitchen. I identified the high traffic areas, potential entry points, then implemented a multi-pronged approach using bait stations, targeted insecticide, and regular sanitation checks.
Well, you're painting a picture. They can practically smell the pesticide fumes. And I'm guessing they'd probably have follow-up questions.
Oh, absolutely. They might ask about ensuring the solution was safe for food prep areas. It's all about connecting the dots, showing you've considered every angle.
This is gold. Now, before we move on to more tips and tricks, what about these career guides we mentioned earlier? What kind of insights do they offer?
Well, they delve into the day-to-day of being a pest management worker, the challenges, the rewards, and the career path itself.
Okay, so let's say I nail this interview. They're blown away by my pest knowledge and witty anecdotes. What happens next? What's life really like in the field?
They're great. Tons of info in those guides. Not just interview stuff, but like navigating the whole career path.
Okay, so let's paint a picture. I ace this interview, impress them with my knowledge. What's next? What's the day-to-day of a pest management worker really like?
It's a lot more varied than people realize, actually. Like, one day you could be inspecting a house for termites. The next you're at a restaurant consulting about, preventing infestations, homes, businesses, even some outdoor work.
Hold on, outdoor work. Did I miss that part? What are, like, wrestling alligators?
Not quite. More like, managing mosquito breeding grounds or dealing with pests that could damage crops. It's about public health, protecting the environment, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that actually sounds kind of cool, like the pest management superhero saving the day. But being realistic, what are some of the tougher parts of the job? The things people might not expect?
Well, I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's not pretty. You're dealing with infestations, right? It's not always a walk in the park.
So strong stomach is a plus?
Helps. Being able to handle the ick factor is definitely part of the job. But honestly, pushing through that, that's what makes it rewarding. You're making a real difference in people's lives.
I see that. It's not just about squishing bugs. It's about helping people live healthier lives. That's pretty cool. So looking ahead, where does this career path lead? What's the long game?
The sky's the limit. You can move up to management roles or maybe specialize in a niche area, like become the termite expert everyone's go-to for rodent control.
Termite expert. I kind of like the sound of that.
Right. And certifications, those are huge. It shows you're serious, that you're invested in professional development, opens doors to better opportunities, better pay, all that.
Makes sense, like leveling up your pest management skills. So going back to these career guides, anything else in there that really stood out to you?
They really emphasize communication skills. It's not just about knowing the pests, it's about connecting with people.
Right, because at the end of the day, you're working with clients, not just critters.
Exactly. Explaining things clearly, addressing their concerns, building that trust, that's crucial in this field. And speaking of building trust, let's get back to those interview questions.
Hit me with another one. I'm ready for it.
Okay, here's a common one that can trip people up. How do you ensure customer satisfaction and loyalty? Seems straightforward, but there's a lot you can unpack there.
More to it than just saying, I do a good job.
Way more. Think about it like this. Communication, being proactive, and going that extra mile. Those are key.
Break it down for me.
So communication, how do you keep clients in the loop? Maybe you give super detailed reports, send reminders, follow up after treatments.
Right, so they feel informed every step of the way.
Exactly. Then there's being proactive. Are you thinking ahead? Anticipating problems before they even happen. That makes a difference.
Like going above and beyond, not just treating the symptoms, but preventing future issues. Okay, I'm with you. Now, what about going the extra mile? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine this. You're treating a home for ants, and you notice they have little kids. You could take a minute, give them some extra tips on ant-proofing, like storing food properly, things like that.
That's so smart. Just that little extra effort shows you care, you're invested.
Exactly. You're not just there to spray and leave, you're building a relationship. Now, let's say they ask about a specific time you went above and beyond for a client. What would you say?
Okay, time to brag. Just kidding, but seriously, how important are those stories in an interview?
They can make all the difference. It's a chance to really bring your experience to life. But remember, it's not bragging if it's true. And it's about showcasing those skills, that dedication to client satisfaction.
So if they say, tell us about a time you dealt with a really difficult pest problem, what's the best way to approach that?
I like the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Start with the situation, the challenge you faced, then outline your specific task, what you had to accomplish, then detail the actions you took, and finally, what was the outcome? Did you save the day?
Okay, so instead of just, I dealt with a rat infestation, it's more like,
I was called to this restaurant, they had a major rat problem, it was threatening their whole business. My task was to get rid of them, obviously, but also do it quickly with minimal disruption to the restaurant. So I inspected everything, found where they were getting in, realized their food storage wasn't secure. We're talking sealing entry points, bait stations, working with the staff to improve their practices. And guess what? Within a few weeks, infestation gone, restaurant saved.
see, now that's a story. Expertise, problem solving, customer service, all in one. Man, you're making me want to apply for a pest management job right now.
Go for it. But before you do, there's this tool I wanted to mention could give you a real advantage in your job search.
Okay, you have my attention. Lay it on me.
Have you heard of RoleCatcher?
Yeah, isn't that the one that uses AI to help with resumes and interviews?
That's the one. It's like having a secret weapon, especially in a field like pest management where, let's be honest, details matter.
So it's like AI for your career, kind of.
Yeah.
But specifically for pest management.
Exactly. It's not generic, it's tailored. They have this huge database, like thousands of interview questions specifically for pest management roles.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's not just giving you like general advice, it's really zeroing in on what you need for this specific field.
Right. It's like having a pest management expert and a career coach all rolled into one. You can practice answering those tough questions, and the AI will analyze your answers, tell you what works, what doesn't.
That's wild. No more rambling on about like your favorite bug when they ask about leadership skills. This AI is going to keep you on track.
Exactly. It helps you get to the point, highlight those key skills and experience, make a real impact. And the best part, it's constantly learning, just like the field itself.
Okay, that's super cool. RoleCatcher, got to check it out. So before we wrap things up here, I wanted to circle back to those career guides. One thing they mentioned was the importance of organization, time management, all that good stuff.
Oh, for sure. Can't underestimate that. When you're juggling clients, appointments, deadlines, it's crucial.
Because it's not just about knowing the pests, it's about managing your time, staying organized.
Exactly. 1 minute you're dealing with an emergency wasp nest, the next you're doing a routine inspection, writing up reports. Got to be on top of it all.
So a well-organized calendar is a pest management pro's best friend.
100%. And those follow-up appointments, the detailed reports, all of that matters. Happy clients, smooth operations, that's the goal.
It all comes back to that client experience, right? Making sure everything's seamless from start to finish.
Exactly. It's all connected. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here today. From bugs to I can totally rock a pest management career. That's what we like to hear. It's a great field, honestly. Challenging, rewarding, always something new to learn. If you're passionate, dedicated, there's tons of opportunity.
And hey, with the tips we've discussed, plus a little help from our friend RoleCatcher, anyone listening can totally ace that interview.
Absolutely. Go get 'em.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive into the world of pest management. We'll see you next time. Same place, same passion for exploring awesome careers. Until then, happy job hunting.